Over the Canada Day long weekend in 2014, Alvin, 66, and Kathy, 53, Lickness held an estate sale at their Park Hill home in southwest Calgary over the Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of that long weekend. The retired couple had recently purchased a home in Edmonton and were planning the move and downsizing. They also had a winter home in Mazatlan. Alvin had worked in the oil and gas industry as an entrepreneur. Alvin and Kathy had a daughter, Jennifer, who was married to Rod O'Brien, and Jennifer and Rod had three little tykes, Lucas, Maximus, and Nathan. Nathan was 5. Jennifer, Rod, and the boys were all there throughout the weekend helping with the sale. Nathan was particularly close with his grandparents and loved spending time with them whenever he could, and was sad that they were going to be moving the 3-hour drive away to Edmonton. At 10 p.m. on the Sunday after the sale was over and the O'Briens were heading home, only Nathan really wanted one last sleepover with his grandma. The next morning, Jennifer returns to pick up Nathan and finds the front door slightly open, which was highly unusual and gave her a bad feeling. Upon entering the house, it is evident that something horrible has happened. There is blood, smears, and puddles everywhere. The air was thick with the smell. Jennifer scrambles through the mess and can't find her parents or little Nathan anywhere. Most of the blood was in the master bedroom, on the bed, the floor, and smeared on the walls. There were drag marks and bloody footprints on the floors and a tiny handprint of blood in the hallway. From court records, it appeared that the small handprint had been left by a small child trying to brace himself against a wall while being dragged out of the house. Jennifer called the police in a panic, saying, "I think my family's been killed." She was advised to wait in her car until police showed up, and when they did, they searched the house hoping that Nathan had only been witness to something violent and was possibly hiding, but they couldn't find him. They were also hopeful that this had been a kidnapping and that Alvin and Kathy and Nathan were all still alive. During the forensic examination of the house, they were not able to find any fingerprints or DNA that didn't belong to one of the family members. One of the things they found was a tooth believed to be from Alvin. Police asked anyone that attended the estate sale to come forward with anything unusual they may have witnessed. An Amber Alert was issued for Nathan, what would be the longest running Amber Alert in Alberta's history. Jennifer and Rod tried to reach out to Nathan during a heartbreaking press conference.
Your mom and dad, Luke and Maximus, and your whole family loves you to every star and back. Nathan, you are our superhero right now, and we're going to bring you home very soon.
Nathan, I need you to hear my voice right now, and I need you to know that Mommy and Daddy love you more than anything in this world. And we can't be with you right now, but the best people that can be with you other than us is your grandparents. And I know Grandma's holding you so tightly right now.
On July 4th, a security footage shows a green truck driving past the Licknesses' house around 3 times on the night of their disappearance, with a white sheet covering the bed of the truck. They asked the public to help with identifying the owner and driver of the truck. Patty Garland, who is the common-law wife of Alvin's son, Alan, called police to tell them that the truck looked a lot like her 56-year-old brother Douglas's truck. The truck had been given to Douglas by their aging and ailing father. Patty and Alan had come to stay at her parents' farm in Airdrie because Alan's parents, Kathy and Alvin, had been reported missing and they wanted to help with the search, of course. On July 5th, police go out to the farm and search the property, seize the truck, and take Douglas, who had been living at his parents' place, in for questioning and hold him on an identity theft charge that was not related to Kathy and Alvin's case at all. Douglas refuses to answer any questions. The next morning, police have no choice but to release Douglas on bail from the identity theft charge, but he's a person of interest in the disappearance of Kathy, Alvin, and Nathan. But he's ordered to not return to the farm while they are conducting the searches, which takes about 3 days of searching. And during the search, what they did uncover was a smoldering burn barrel with ashes in it. The ashes were sifted through and they found a baby tooth, burnt flesh, and tiny bone fragments. Not a good look, but also not enough to charge Douglas with murder. On July 12th, police had staked out the farm because they suspected that Douglas would try to return and get rid of further evidence, And of course, he did try to return, coming through some bushes and was caught by helicopter with night vision and cornered by police on the ground and taken in. He was charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder for Kathy and Alvin and second-degree murder for Nathan, as he was not initially thought to be part of any planned abduction or murder. He was collateral damage. But the charge was later upgraded to first degree for him, as it was murder to eliminate a witness. Douglas Garland was born to Doreen and Archie Garland, who at the time of the murders were both in their 80s. Douglas was a loner and a very bitter man prone to holding grudges. He didn't have a particularly good relationship with his sister as a result, and his parents tolerated him. He had not had any romantic relationships and was content with finding ways people had failed him. However, he wasn't a dumb man, and he had a bachelor's degree in science. He had even attended medical school at the University of Alberta, but had dropped out after about a year or so. When the Amber Alert had gone out for Nathan, Doreen had asked Douglas what his thoughts were about it. After all, the Licknesses were family to Patty, and he had said, "I don't know. I don't want to talk about the Licknesses." Over the Christmas holidays the year before, Douglas had created a fair bit of tension in the family when he had accused Alan of stealing some of his property and threatened to go to the police with it. Patty and Alan were kind of fed up with Douglas at this point because he was always sure somebody had done something to him or taken something from him. Police discovered that years before all of this, Douglas had actually worked with Alvin on a pump to be used in the oil and gas field. The pump was built, Alvin got a patent for it, and they ended their working relationship. Now, the pump and the patent never went anywhere. No one had made a cent off of it. But Douglas, he just couldn't let the matter go. Like, he felt somehow Alvin had screwed him over, and he was bitter, bitter, bitter. The Amber Alert was ended, and the public was very confused. They didn't find them or their bodies, but had called off the search, saying they had no reason to believe they were alive. So how could they know that? Well, it turns out that the day after the disappearances, a mapping plane for the city of Airdrie just so happened to fly over the Garland farm, and a mapping plane snaps a photo every 3 seconds. And when the pilot reviewed his photos, he discovered something rather awful. Laying on the ground in a field near where they later found the burn barrel is the headless torsos of 2 adults, both wearing adult diapers. Lying near the 2 torsos is a small figure of a body, and this was at 9:23 a.m. on July 1st, 2014. The photos from the following morning no longer show the 3 bodies. Now, some of the evidence found from the searches from the property included 2 meat hooks, a large hacksaw, a number of knives in different sizes and shapes, a hard drive that was hidden in the ceiling joists in the basement of the house with 112 gigs of data stored on it, which included photos of Kathy, documents from Alvin's business ventures, which included his address, fetish photos of adults in diapers, an autopsy manual, a folder of photos labeled gore containing 87 photos of deceased persons, 18 documents related to killing and/or murder, a book called How to Kill Without Joy, a user manual for the type of lock on the Licknesses' front door, Google searches on his computer for the Licknesses' estate sale, Alvin Lickness, Kathy Lickness, amputation and autopsy tools, force needed for concussion, lack of oxygen brain damage minutes, most painful torture, blood removal solution, and bone grinder. They also obtained footage from Princess Otto's surveillance showing Douglas buying the meat saw blades. In the basement, they found 2 blonde women's wigs and a set of prosthetic breasts and an entire wardrobe of women's clothes and shoes in Douglas's sizes. The tennis shoes that they were able to match to prints at the scene, and disposable biohazard suits, and 50 boxes of adult diapers. Kathy's DNA was found on the meat hook, and both Alvin and Nathan's was found on the meat saw. Douglas Garland pleaded not guilty, and based on the evidence and his research materials, the Crown surmised that Douglas had shown up at the Licknesses' house at 3 a.m., used a drill to disable the lock on the back door, went straight for the master bedroom and bludgeoned Alvin, and then found Kathy and Nathan sleeping peacefully in the spare bedroom and bludgeoned her. However, all 3 of them were believed to still be alive when they were taken from the house. He took them to the farm, and we can only imagine what was done to them before they were finally killed and dismembered and burned in a barrel. He was found guilty of all 3 counts and was given 3 consecutive life sentences and parole ineligibility for 75 years, which of course was overturned in May 2022, and he is now eligible for after 25 years because it's cruel and unusual, blah, blah, blah. There were no mitigating factors, and Douglas showed no remorse. Rod O'Brien told the court, "When I leave here today, my wife and I will go home with only 2 sons. Those who choose evil, they will get an eternity of evil. A life sentence on earth is nothing compared to what awaits you. I didn't even have enough of my son to bury. There was not enough left of him." Now, each murder had its own plan and reason, which in my mind means 75 years is appropriate. Alvin was killed for revenge. Kathy was added to his diabolical and sick plan after he became fixated on her for sick and disgusting diaper reasons, and Nathan was killed to eliminate any witnesses. His defense lawyer, Kim Ross, said that all the killings were done at the same time, so it should only be 25 years. So I guess as long as you kill people all at once, I guess it's only considered one murder in his mind. Jennifer and Rod started the Nathan O'Brien Children's Foundation, supporting 9 local charities including the Children's Cottage, Stephen's Backpack, Brown Bagging for Calgary's Kids, and Even Start. And you can find information for that at www.nathanobrien.foundation.com.